Hey everyone, this is the June 28th Polymath Developer Town Hall. I'm Charles, I'm Polymath's Open Source Developer Community Manager, and I'll be moderating today's Town Hall. Today we'll be talking about the new Polymath Core version 1.20 release and the introduction to the Polymath Developer Portal where you can all interact with. Before we get started, I wanted to introduce Stephane in the bottom right corner of your screen, who just came on board. We're really happy to have him, and he'll be serving as a Solidity developer here. But I wanted him to talk about himself a little more. Go ahead.
Hey everyone, and thanks for the intro, Charles. So I come from an operations research background. I've been working with Ethereum for just over a year now, and I'm super excited to be joining the Polymath team. It's super exciting to be able to create products that help companies kind of new approaches to creating securities and raising funds on public markets. So super excited to be joining the team and working with everyone.
Awesome, great to have you. So to kick things off, Adam, he's going to jump in to talk about the newest release, and we'll flow from there.
Hey, yep, so this is Adam. I'm the lead Solidity developer at Polymath. Last week we cut the 1.2.0 release of the Polymath core protocol, and that code is going through an audit process at the moment, and there's a few kind of exciting features we wanted to talk about that are in that release, and that's the release we're targeting to put on mainnet. So the first feature we want to talk about is called checkpoints. So the ERC20 token specification doesn't immediately kind of lend itself to querying historical balances of tokens. So if you want to know what your token balance was right now, that's fine. Obviously, the interface allows that. But if you want to query your balance as of a week ago or a month ago or the 1st of January or something like that, ERC20 doesn't really kind of immediately lend itself to that because of the way data is typically stored in implementations. So it turns out that for securities or security tokens, that functionality is quite useful. It's particularly useful for things like dividends and voting, where you need to be able to query balances as of a consistent point in time to pay out dividends or to allow people to vote based on their token balances. So we added kind of functionality in 1.2.0 that allows the issuer to create these so-called checkpoints, which are particular points in time which you can then query token balances as of. There's a few different ways this could be implemented. Some are pretty kind of gas intensive. I think there's the most kind of commonly used implementation, which is Minimi token, uses kind of stores every single kind of intermediary balance, so you can query the balance as of any block number, but that's very gas intensive because you have to store a lot of kind of intermediary data to do that. So we've taken a kind of a sort of balanced approach which doesn't store all intermediary data but only stores balances as of these kind of predefined checkpoints, which might be every quarter or every year or every month or every week, and could potentially be every block. So we've introduced this new module type called checkpoints. We built on top of that module type a couple of kind of modules that use that functionality. These are modules that help issuers pay out dividends on chain. So the dividend module kind of roughly works. The issuer creates a new dividend, let's say 100 Ether, that they want to distribute to all of their token holders. As part of creating that dividend, the module creates a checkpoint, so in this example, the 100 Ether would be distributed to all token holders based on their balances at the point in time that checkpoint is created. So this kind of avoids issues around the people being able to double claim dividends. Maybe if Alice has 100 tokens, she claims a dividend and then sends those tokens to Bob, it stops Bob kind of reclaiming or double claiming dividends. So we've implemented these dividend modules. There are some other kind of fun features we're looking at to do with things like withholding tax and kind of excluding certain addresses for various reasons, but sort of broadly speaking, they let the issuer pay out dividends, and it supports dividends being paid both in Ether and also in any ERC20 token. So that could be the issuer's own token, it could be the Poly token, or any other ERC20 compliant token. So the kind of checkpoint module type is a big new feature, and then so we've added some example modules, and in fact, internally are working on some other modules that take advantage of that functionality. So for the next feature, I'll hand off to Satyam, who's going to talk about some of the new functionality related to security token offerings.
Thanks, Adam. So this checkpoint functionality is very big. We are also adding some of the smallest functionality that will beautify our code, and as well as this are very important functionality to issuer for maintaining their issuers list or their auditing. So for that, we introduce one more flag to blacklist the investor to prevent those investors to invest in the STO. So if issuer does not want that that's a particular investor can invest through the STO, so he can blacklist those investors using that flag. So leading this, we also add one more functionality that's pretty cool. So we are now avail that we are pausing those STOs whenever the issuer wants. So in many cases, there's some mishappenings because of the compliance reasons, or we are running on the technological word. So there may be a technological flaw. So in that mean period of time, issuer can restrict the investment through that pausing feature, and whenever the issue get resolved, issuer can again resume the investment. So adding into this, we also add monetization features in our modules. So we are using the open source community as Ethereum, and so we are also trying to leverage more developers. So we created monetization features. Whoever the developer is creating the new modules, they can be paid using a certain costing scheme. So currently we have three type of costing scheme. First is setup cost, that will be paid at the time whenever the module get integrated with the security token by the issuer. So if you are the developer and you want to earn, then it's a pretty quite good feature to go it through. So in that feature, you can earn money as well as you can help the issuers to complete the task. Adding into this, we have also the uses fee that is particular around for the uses of the specific modules. We also have the subscription fee that will be paid monthly. So if you are the developer and your module is being used by multiple issuers, because all of the modules are uh, very much concerned about the security, so you invest your invest your number of couple of hours to audit those secure those contracts. So for that, we are also trying to give more and more incentives to the developers. So we introduce a subscription fee that can be paid monthly to the developer. As adding into this, we also add one more functions for ending the minting permanently. So in the previous versions, there's a no feature to end the minting uh, if the STO is attached. So if the issuer wants to end the mint, so they can call the finish minting function to end the minting permanently. So these are a couple of new features that will be helpful for the issuers to launch their security token as well as maintain their books. So apart from this, Stephen will going to tell you some more exciting features in the current release. So Stephen, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Satyam. So the first thing we're going to talk about is upgradable registries. So we kind of looked about what would happen if we needed to update one of the registry contracts. So the three registry contracts that we have right now are the ticker registry, the security token registry, as well as the module registry. And so the way that we set it up for this release is that all of the addresses for the various contracts are stored inside of the security token registry contract, which means that we would be able to upgrade either the module registry or the ticker registry without having an impact on the issuer. However, if there was ever an event where we would need to upgrade the security token registry, then it would be a simple ask to the issuers to be able to change the address under which the security token registry is stored. We are looking at changing this model for a future release. So we're considering a way that would prevent the issuer from having to change any of the reference addresses, but that would come, as I said, in a future release. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the updated CLIs. So we've been working over the couple of weeks to make it a bit more user-friendly, just to test the platform, test Polymath Core, play around with issuing modules and creating STOs and creating investments. And so we have two main demos that we've created. The first one is an investor portal that allows an investor to select an STO and then invest in it in either Poly or Ether. And the second module that we've launched, so the second demo, is a module manager, which allows an issuer to kind of log into their token and see a list of all the different modules that are currently active. And they can also from there take actions against those modules, such as pause them, change the budget, or remove them altogether. Then we've also added a couple more features onto it that just allows management of the token to be more easy, which are like whitelisting new investors, as well as minting tokens and calling that finish minting function that Satyam talked about. We're still working on this, so some of the next features that we're looking to add is the ability to add modules through the CLI, but that will also come later. I can pass it back to Satyam or Adam to talk more.
Yeah, I can cover off on a couple of other features just before I do that. If anyone has any questions as we're going along, I saw David asked a question. If anyone has any questions, do please, there should be a kind of a question widget on the GoToWebinar portal, so do feel free to answer or to ask questions there, and we'll either answer them in chat or on the call itself. So, and in fact, on that note, so David asked whether the rent of modules to developers will be paid in Poly, and if so, how much? So this is, I think this is something, Satyam, you were going to cover as part of the kind of module monetization section. So maybe now's a kind of good time to cover that, and then I'll go back to some of the other features afterwards.
So he's asking about how the developer will be paid, or it's using the ETH or the Poly.
Yeah, so how developers of modules would be paid, what the options are for developers of modules to be paid in Poly.
So we have the three options. So these are the fees that we are giving to the developers. That's the setup fees and the usage fee, as well as the subscription fee. So those fees are being provided by the issuer whenever the issuer uses your module at whenever he integrates your module in their particular security token. So you will be incentivized using the setup fee at the time, and then you have the certain functionality in your module that you develop. So according to those uses of those functionality, you will be incentivized by using the usage fee. And the third part is a subscription fee that will be delivered to you after a month period. That's a monthly fee that you will be provided by the issuer. So these three types of fees will be delivered to each and every developers whenever their module get integrated with the any of the security token published by the issuer. So these costs are whether we paid by in Ether or as well as in Poly.
Yeah, and just to add to that, so I think the other part of David's question is, how much would those fees be? The answer there is it's set by the developer. So if you create, let's say you're a Solidity developer and you create some module maybe to do on-chain voting governance and some action based on the outcome of votes. So you create a pretty cool module. You as a developer would set the fee in Poly, and as Satyam says, there's three different types of fee. There's like an initial setup fee, a per usage fee and a monthly subscription fee that the developer can set in Poly, so that the developers kind of control what those fees are. And obviously there would be a marketplace for different modules at different prices with different types of functionality, much like an app store or something like that. Okay, and then one other new feature in 1.2.0 we want to talk about briefly. So at Polymath, we spend a lot of time talking to kind of regulatory and legal experts who are kind of experts in different types of security token offerings. So particularly in the US, there's various different ways you can do you can sell or issue securities, things like Reg D, Reg A plus, and Reg CF, and things like that. Each of those different offerings have kind of different requirements around transfer restrictions. So some have lockup periods, some limit the number of the number of trades as a percentage of the issuance, and various other kind of weird and wonderful rules to kind of facilitate. And obviously Polymath's aim is to provide issuers with on-chain kind of modules and functionality that kind of covers all of those different use cases. One of the kind of use cases that came up as part of the analysis for this release is there needs to be the ability for the issuer, or possibly someone acting on the issuer's instruction, like a transfer agent, to manually approve or manually block very explicit types of transfers. So some examples would be, let's suppose a security token has been issued and you're during the it's during the initial 12-month lockup. If an investor's wallet is compromised for some reason, that investor will obviously want to move their tokens to a non-compromised wallet, but technically, because they're in a lockup period, they wouldn't be able to do that. So we added this manual approval module, which allows the issuer or a transfer agent acting on the issuer's behalf to approve an explicit transfer between two addresses for a fixed amount, with a kind of fixed expiry time that approval is valid until. And that, in this case, they would approve the investor to move their tokens from their compromised wallet to a non-compromised wallet. And there are various other types of use case which kind of fall into this sort of manual exemption category, where the manual approval module would be useful. So typically we would think the manual approval module would be kind of deployed alongside a general transfer manager module, with the general transfer manager module kind of holding all the general logic and things like lockup periods and those types of things, and the manual approval module being used for these explicit cases where you either need to approve or potentially block transfers of tokens between addresses. So on the blocking side, maybe if you identify a bad actor or something like that, you might want to block transfers for that bad actor until they've gone through some kind of arbitration process or something like that. So that's one of the other new modules that's part of the 1.2.0 release. So where are we in the agenda? So I think we've covered, and Stephane and Satyam jump in if you think otherwise. I think we've covered all the new features. And then Satyam, did you want to talk briefly about what's running on the testnet at the moment?
Yes. So in Covert testnets, we are live with the 1.2.0 total release. So you can play with all of the contracts that are live over the Covert testnet. You can create your own STOs. You can create your own security tokens. You can create your own modules to play with. And we are also live with our DApp with the same functionality, and you can work around there. And if you have any queries around there, you can go to our GitHub channel, ask the queries, and me, Adam, or Stephane, or any of the Polymath developer will help you around to set up those things and make you understand about our smart contracts. So you can be a part of this revolutionizing world. So that's very great.
Yep, and certainly if anyone needs something like Kovan, so Kovan, which is one of the Ethereum testnets, if anyone needs Kovan Ether or KETH, I think it's called, you can hop on the Git channel and we can help you out with some Kovan Ether so that you can deploy your own test security tokens and play around with them and so on. So then I guess the next topic is related to the bug bounty. So I think we've talked about the bug bounty on previous town halls, but just to stress again, there is an ongoing public bug bounty for our contracts, and we know there are bugs out there on those contracts because we found some. Sadly, we can't claim the bug bounties ourselves, but there are nice, good value bug bounties still available for the Solidity code, so if you're a Solidity developer and you fancy doing some bounty hunting or some bug hunting, now is a great time to do it, because we're also, we're kind of going through an audit process independently of that public bug bounty, but we haven't yet received that audit and kind of addressed issues from that audit. So now will be probably the optimal time to go bug hunting if you're a Solidity developer, and all the details are available on the blog, on the Polymath blog.
Also, with respect to the creating your own STO and the tutorials, there's actually a tech piece on how to create your own STO on our Medium account, which is updated to the new Kovan release. So check that out on our Medium and walk through it. And if you have any questions, like we mentioned before, reach out to us. I think that covers all the bug bounty issues, Adam. Is that right?
Yep.
All right, so I guess we'll move on to the last topic of this town hall, which is the developer portal. So myself and our lead designer, Tom, have been working on a developer portal for all of you guys to tune in for all your questions. That's just a portion of it, though. So essentially what we're doing is we're creating the go-to spot for Polymath developers and anyone interested in the code base. The developer portal will contain a whole bunch of different things. So mainly the purpose of it is to have our beautiful documentation out there with steps to running your own code, which will actually include the automatic updates from our GitHub using an external API for that. We'll also be using a module directory. So for every module we create, we'll have a description of it, how to work with it, and essentially what it will be doing on the portal. Next, we'll have tutorials for all different levels. There'll be the beginner ones. Like I mentioned, we have that one Medium article that allows you to walk through a STO, which ranges from beginner to intermediate, and all you really need to know is how to use MetaMask. After that, we'll obviously have our showcase for our bug bounty program with live updates of all the bugs that we want fixed. In addition to the great monetary rewards that we're providing, we'll also have user showcases for anyone who tackles a bug. We'll kind of put your picture up there and saying thank you for helping the community. We'll also have a link to our technology blog, so all the articles that all of us write on a weekly, bi-weekly basis, they'll be pushed up there for updates. And we'll also have a live announcement of our current releases. So instead of tuning into the town hall to hear the updates, you'll actually be able to tune into the portal and see the releases in real time. Lastly, just like Satyam mentioned before, like you can reach out to us on our GitHub. You'll be able to have a help section on our portal where you can reach out to us, where any of the developers or anyone from the team that you like to speak to can answer your questions regarding the development side of things and how to put everything together. So I'm sure you're all wondering what the suspected launch date of this portal will be. Right now, we're kind of aiming for mid-July, but we're going to play by ear there. And we really look forward to sharing it with you all and getting you more involved with the community. So I think that kind of sums up our developer portal for our developer town hall for today. Thank you, Stephane, for joining us this time. We look forward to having you in the next couple ones. And everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.